The first time someone went missing on Route 46, no one thought much of it. A drifter, the sheriff had said. Someone passing through, someone no one would miss. But then the second person disappeared, then the third, and then the stories began. Mark Grayson had heard the rumors when he took the night shift at the gas station just off the highway. Truckers spoke in hushed tones about drivers who had vanished without a trace. Cars abandoned, engines running, doors wide open, like the earth had simply swallowed them whole. Mark didn't believe in ghost stories, but after a month of working there, the highway started to feel wrong. One night, just past midnight, a woman stumbled into the gas station. Her clothes were torn, her face pale as death. She gripped the counter with trembling hands, her breath ragged. "Please," she whispered, "help me." Mark stared at her, his gut tightening. "Ma'am, are you hurt? Do you need the police?" She shook her head violently. "No police. He's coming." Mark's eyes darted to the dark road outside. The highway stretched into blackness, lined with skeletal trees that swayed in the night wind. "Who's coming?" he asked. The woman swallowed hard, her eyes flicking to the security cameras. "I ran," she said. "The others, they didn't." Before Mark could press further, the station's lights flickered. The hum of the refrigeration units cut out. The clock on the wall stuttered, then stopped. Outside, the gas pumps shut off with a heavy clunk. Silence fell, thick and suffocating. The woman gasped, "He knows I'm here." Mark turned toward the glass doors just as a shadow passed beneath the flickering neon sign. The hairs on his neck rose. The woman grabbed his wrist, her nails digging into his skin. "If you want to live," she hissed, "don't look at his face." Mark's breath hitched as the automatic doors rattled, like something on the other side was testing them. The woman squeezed his wrist harder, her nails biting into his skin. "Turn off the lights," she whispered. "Now." His heart pounded, but he obeyed. His fingers fumbled for the switch behind the counter, and with a flick, the fluorescent lights above buzzed out, plunging the store into shadows. Outside, beneath the neon station sign, a figure stood, motionless. Mark squinted, trying to make out details through the glass. The figure was tall, unnaturally still, its head slightly tilted like it was listening. The shape of it was wrong. His brain fought to define its features, but there was nothing. No face, no eyes, nose, or mouth, just smooth, pale skin where a face should be. The woman pressed herself against the counter, whispering through clenched teeth. "He doesn't walk. He doesn't talk. He only takes." Her breath hitched. "If you see his face, it's already too late." Mark swallowed, his throat dry. The gas station's phone was dead. The landline nothing but static. His cell had lost signal the moment the lights flickered. His mind raced for an escape, but the only way out was the front door, where the faceless man stood. Then, as if sensing Mark's hesitation, the figure moved. It didn't walk. It glided, shifting closer in unnatural, jerking motions. 1 second it was near the pumps. The next, it was inches from the glass, its head tilting as if sensing them inside. Mark's instincts screamed at him to run, but the woman shook her head violently. "Don't move," she mouthed. "Don't breathe." A deep, guttural noise filled the air, vibrating through the walls like distant thunder. glass door handle rattled. The thing outside wasn't going to wait much longer. Mark's lungs burned as he held his breath. The glass door handle trembled, rattling against the frame. The faceless thing stood just outside, inches away, its skin eerily smooth under the flickering gas station sign. The woman beside him gripped his arm so tightly that he thought her nails might draw blood. Then, without warning, the neon sign buzzed violently before cutting out completely, plunging the gas station into thick darkness. A low hum filled the air, a pressure in Mark's skull that made him dizzy, a sound like heavy breathing, but wrong, too hollow, too wet, echoed through the store. The woman flinched, mouthing something Mark couldn't understand. The thing was inside. It hadn't opened the door. It hadn't broken the glass. It had simply appeared. Mark's pulse hammered as he tried to focus in the darkness. The shape of the creature loomed near the aisles, barely visible in the dim glow of the fridge lights. It moved in quick, unnatural jerks, like a skipping film reel. Then it stopped. It turned toward them. Mark's vision blurred as the pressure in his skull intensified. His thoughts splintered, scattered, like something was reaching inside his mind, pulling at memories that weren't its own. The woman gasped, clutching her head, shaking violently. Mark staggered back, knocking over a rack of candy bars. The thing twitched at the sound, its featureless head snapping toward him. A car engine roared outside. Bright headlights cut through the store's front windows, and just like that, the faceless thing vanished, like smoke sucked from the air. The woman collapsed against the counter, gasping. Mark barely had time to process what had happened before. Tires screeched outside. Someone was here, and they were in a hurry. The car outside screeched to a halt, its headlights piercing the darkness. Mark's heart pounded as he rushed to the window. A black sedan idled just outside, its engine humming like a restless beast. The driver's side door swung open, and a tall man in a sheriff's uniform stepped out, his face etched with exhaustion. "Inside, now," the sheriff barked, his voice cutting through the thick silence. Mark didn't hesitate. He grabbed the woman's arm and half-dragged her toward the exit. The moment they stepped outside, the sheriff slammed the gas station door shut behind them and twisted the key in the lock. He turned to them with wild eyes. "You saw it, didn't you?" His voice was low, urgent. Mark swallowed hard. "What the hell is that thing?" The sheriff exhaled sharply. "It doesn't have a name. It's been here for decades, maybe longer." He looked over his shoulder, scanning the empty highway. Every few years, people start disappearing. Always on this stretch of road. They vanish without a trace. No blood, no wrecks, just gone. The woman, still clutching her head, looked up at him. "Why hasn't anyone stopped it?" The sheriff gave a grim chuckle. "How do you stop something you can't even understand?" He gestured to his cruiser. "We need to move. It doesn't like to be seen, but it always comes back." Mark hesitated. "What happens if it touches you?" The sheriff's jaw tightened. "You stop existing." The words sent an icy chill down Mark's spine. He looked back at the gas station, the neon sign flickering weakly to life again. The shadow wasn't gone. It was waiting. Without another word, they piled into the cruiser. The sheriff floored the gas, tires screeching as they tore down the highway. Mark gripped the seat as the speedometer climbed. Then, in the rearview mirror, he saw it. A figure standing in the middle of the road, impossibly still. No features, no face, just an empty watching presence. And as they sped away, it slowly lifted one hand as if waving goodbye,